Well, howdy. Another day, no nap because I'm in Frederick. This time yesterday, well, it was earlier yesterday, I had to take off literally and come up here to Skilos and Frederick, which is Nova Luna, the puppy's specialist for her fractured, I shouldn't say broken, fractured right growth plate, which is kind of like the puppy's wrist. Anyway, long story short, I was en route to come here yesterday when they called, and I realized all of a sudden that I went through most of yesterday thinking yesterday was today for some strange reason. So anyway, I'm checking in just to say hello and to touch on some of the stuff that we were touched on earlier. Earlier, you heard me rant about, just people asking for money in the middle of the night over at the all-night gas slash made-to-order food place. You know which place I'm talking about. But there were some other things I wanted to talk about. One is life. It's like, just when you think you've got everything calm, it gets a little more interesting, right? Like in the back of my mind, I'm wondering, all right, what am I going to find out about Nova Luna today? What's possibly going to be wrong or right? How's she healing? Is it going to be okay? Is she going to need further surgery? You think about all of these things. And I just kind of wish it were easier, Sometimes I wish that life would just cut it with the excuse me, I get the hiccups. Cut it with the curveballs. Live video, everybody. Live. Because these curveballs be getting harder and harder to hit. But nonetheless, we hit them. And I think the other thing that's been like real helpful is that I've been sleeping. And I've been going to sleep like early. Now, I've been getting up early, but I've been going to sleep early. So anyway. So Nova Luna is getting checked. There's a lot of other stuff to go through. I was looking at a lot of stuff to get ready to go for this afternoon's shows that you'll hear on our today's mixed channels across our iHeart Nation. You're going to hear a lot of talk about Halloween and Thanksgiving, but you're also going to hear us talk about a time you quit a job on the spot, where maybe you took the job, a friend convinced you it was the right idea, and then boom, not good. Then we'll talk about workplace romance. That's something that is interesting to me because, well, I've been a part of that before, and I know that a lot of people are, especially now that we're getting back to the office. There's some things to remember. We'll go through those coming up a little bit later on. We'll learn something new with random, and then I'll see if I can sneak either here on the channel or over on Insta, maybe even on X, formerly known as Twitter, kind of an advanced leak of my conversation with David Foster and Catherine McPhee. I got to tell you, I talked to them literally right before I had to jump up here. And they are just, it's like two incredible talents together, married, doing their Christmas thing, performing at the tree lighting, doing the whole Thanksgiving Day parade with Macy's together. They're doing a Christmas holiday tour, but they're also, working a relationship and growing a family. And so it's always good to talk to them. So we'll talk to them about some stuff. And I'm going to try to give you an advance here, or like I said, on X, so you can hear the unedited video before it hits the air, because so many things you hear are chopped way down. Like imagine going to a Japanese steakhouse, right? That's kind of like what we do with audio. We'll talk to somebody for 10 minutes, and if you're lucky, you'll hear 30 seconds of it. It's true. It's crazy how that works, but it's true. Or you'll hear different segments depending. And I haven't really figured out how I'm going to roll all of this out, but it'll be closer in time to when the tour starts. Definitely before Thanksgiving, so it'll definitely roll at some point in time in the next few days. But it's really a great conversation. It's always, David Foster, I don't think people realize this guy's funny. And Catherine McPhee and David Foster, they talk at the end of the interview about something that they would love to do together if it's right. And I'll just leave it as a cliffhanger tease for what you'll see on the video coming up. Now, questions, comments. Number one, thank you for your messages about our morning mindset, which we hope becomes your morning mindset. That you hear in the DC show in the mornings, once, like around 5:20ish, and then again, right before 10. It's like at 9:50 something. And then across our iHeart Nation, you hear it at different times too. You can also read them on Insta. A couple of you have reached out on via DM saying, thank you for the positivity. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking the time to write. But if you have a quote that's really moved you, it's not my morning mindset. It's not something that I choose. It's something that you or that we choose that might help our little community that's growing and burgeoning to find some joy, some healing, some peace, perseverance, and maybe a little bit of inspiration. So if you've got something to share, feel free to do so. Anyway, and if you've got any questions, ask me anything. I will answer whatever. So fire away with those questions. If there's anything you want me to start with, feel free. And I'll start with this. Are we going to hang a real wreath on the door? I think so. And I think my significant other is going to make said wreath again. I still think it's a bit early for the wreath to be hung, but I've been informed that she's bought a wreath door kind of wreath holder. It is the little baby Jesus, a little manger type Art Deco sort of a scene. I don't know if she got it at the Hobby Lobby or the Michaels, but when she told me it was the little baby Jesus and Mary and Joseph, and then there was some angels, then I realized that's what they were, but it was very hard for me to tell at first. I was like, what is this? I really didn't know. Then also, and by the way, how does my no shave Movember look? Yes, that's right. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the note that was left on the door. And before I wrap and encourage your questions, I wanted to say to my neighbor, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize I was leaving an alarm set at 3 o'clock and that I've been leaving before 3 o'clock every day recently for the last couple of weeks pretty steadily. And I got your note, and I am so sorry that alarm's been going off and that it's been keeping you up and those walls are thin. And I hope that you're not mad at me, and I hope that I don't lose points in my quest to be neighbor of the year. But thank you for leaving the note because I wouldn't have known. So I'm glad you did. I'll show you a quick snippet of the note, but you know what? That's the thing. That's what neighbors do. Sometimes it's not enough to borrow eggs, milk, or sugar, or flour. It's not enough just to check on your neighbors. Sometimes you got to be like, hey, you're doing something that's causing some kind of craziness to go on. In this case, it was an alarm set for 3 a.m. There ain't nothing good about an alarm set at 3 a.m. Trust me, as someone who's been up since 1:30, 1:45, didn't get his afternoon nap in. It's important sleeping time. Prime sleeping time. So neighbor, I'm sorry. My parents named me Toby, and I've approved this message. So fire away with your questions. Ask me anything. And remember, we'll be here again probably a little bit later on today, answering those questions, running down some stuff from the show. If you've got anything to add, feel free. You know where to find me. In the meantime, X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, at TK Radio. You can find me on Insta at Toby Knapp, TOBYKNAPP. You've, of course, found the YouTube channel. And, of course, you can find the blog at iHeartToby.com. That's iHeartToby.com. Hope you're well. I'm just going to go back to waiting here at ski load. Santa does watch your Instagram. Don't screw it up. Ho, ho, ho. That's all.